Hey, touch me, tease me. So again, a lot of consternation about who can visit Trump and why should they visit him and what is happening. And they always make the moral equivalent that Dr. Martin Luther King met with people that was much more racist. Nobody could deny that. Dr. Martin Luther King did meet with a lot of people that were racist, people that had advocated the lynching of black people, people that advocated keep being separate. You know the difference between Martin Luther King and people who are visiting Trump? Martin Luther King knew what he wanted. He understood what the people that he was meeting with wanted. They wanted optics. They wanted the appearance of doing something. That's not much different than Trump. But you know what? He also did two things. He knew what he wanted, and every meeting he had wasn't in public. A lot of meetings were secret. You know why? Because the gig was more important than the optics. To him, he didn't want people knowing what happened, or he didn't want to. It's like when you go to a press conference and they won't give you any answers. They just there to say they were there. That's optics. That has nothing to do. It's like somebody in a class, the teacher raises questions, and you raise your hand and go, I don't know the answer. It's ridiculous. Martin Luther King did meet with people, but he didn't often tell a lot. He had a lot of secret meetings, and he was often the one who was spearheading the meeting. He knew what he wanted. He was informed and insistent. He didn't come and say, I just came to take a picture. He didn't come and say, I just was talking about golf. He came and he knew what he wanted, and he got what he wanted. He knew they wanted what Trump wanted, the optics. They wanted a picture. He didn't come there to give testimonials. He didn't come there and say, I love the guy. Oh, he's decent. He's this. That's what substantively did they get besides consternation? What did they get? Because you don't, let me tell you something. Our problems are so vast and so deep, not one conversation is going to solve it. Just like Martin Luther King, he had some meetings in public and a lot in private. Some meetings in public and a lot in secret. He met with people because he didn't want to hear what they're hearing now. I know what it's like to go to somebody, and we should talk to people that have divergent opinions. I know what it's like to go to Megyn Kelly's show and her to have a different opinion than me. And I know what she wanted, and I know what I had to offer. I know what it's like to go on Bill O'Reilly's show. I know what he wanted. I know what I had to offer. Because when you're holding yourself as a leader, what you want is not what you're there for. Your picture is not what you're there for. Your golf game is not what you're there for. Your endorsement is not what you're there for. If you're holding yourself up as a leader of people, it's what they need that you should be talking about. It's not about you at all. It shouldn't have one thing to do with you. It shouldn't have anything to do with you. And that's the thing. He was about the people. And you don't have to have an agenda. You have to know some things. You should know if you are going to talk about the plight of our people, the Attorney General, you should have to know it. Housing and development, you should have to know it. There are things you should know. I'm not saying you should be nuanced and know everything, but if you're holding yourself as a leader and what you're doing is for your people, then that should be the mission. That should be the mission. Martin Luther King came to change, not to trend. And I don't think you have to know all these things. I would never hold myself as a leader. But I've gone to places that I didn't agree with those people in their home and said what I had to say because in that vein, I wasn't going to promote me. I was going for them. If you're going to be a leader, fucking lead. Don't tell me if you're going for you, that's one thing. Nobody cares about that. That's your thing. You should do that. If you're going for them, because that's what they called you. They didn't call you to talk about your book or your show or your career. They called you to see how you can make your people's position better. So you should be informed and know what you're getting out of it. And know this. You can't show up for one day. You got to show up for a lot. If you're trying to change our position, you better bring a lunch. The greatest thing I ever, and you don't have to, you have to know what it is you're there for and what it is you can get out of it. Chris Rock said the greatest thing to me is a piece of advice I apply to almost everything. You don't have to know what you will do. Just know what you want. That's a little note from the GED section. The Jazz Report is coming up in a few minutes. It's the D.O. Hughley Show.